Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm excited for that as well. Thanks for inviting. My name is Viktor. I'm just someone you know. I'm a founder of Stone Tigers, NFT artist, Web3 developer, and just a cool guy that loves all things NFTs. So that's something I've been doing since August 2021, and I do only that. So I don't know. I don't think so ever will quit because I don't have actually anything else to do in my life. So yeah, NFTs full time, and I'm excited to be here. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the Web3 gaming, NFTs and gaming, and how the industry gonna move forward, and what are the ways for us, what currently already exist and available for many, because I found out that not many people actually aware that we have quite amount of the Web3 blockchain native games already accessible. So I'm gonna be happy to guide everyone a little bit further on that too. Firstly, wanted to ask if anyone has any questions in the beginning so that we could break down maybe what is the NFT in case for simplicity purposes so that everyone understands, and then we can go into the further without the terminology aspects. What do you think? All right. Let's do that. So first of all, what is an NFT and why is it important? So NFT is the form of the digital collectible. That's, I believe, the easiest way to explain that, where the NFT represents non-fungible token, which means that each token is unique and authentic and that there is no copy of that. And it's verifiable through the blockchain, which storing the data, all the transactions forever, and they're accessible to the general public. So the NFTs created on-chain through the smart contracts, and then later on can be traded on the marketplaces like Blur, like Magic Eden, like OpenSea, and several others that you may know. The OpenSea is the biggest, the most famous one. And if you haven't ever seen how the NFT would look like, what does it all mean? You can go to the OpenSea, you can click at the featured ones and see what is that. And you will see that there's a token, there's a particular owner for the particular token, and there's a different standards that may exist. But we're gonna just focus on the non-fungible ones like 721, 721A, which represent one token, one holder. And how is that correlating with blockchain gaming? And what current examples are already existing? And why is it important? So as an NFT is representing a digital collectible, and many people are already playing the games, and gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar worth industry at this point right now, where we have a lot of gamers, we have a lot of competitions, we have a lot of performances happening all across the globe where the people participating. So the gaming industry been anyways having skins, digital items associated with their particular platform. But the problem with the current stage of the gaming is that, let's say you're playing Counter-Strike Go or any other thing like Brawl Stars or something. You're buying the gems, you're buying the items, you're buying the skins for your weapons, etc. But you actually don't own them. And the second you will stop playing the game, those money that you spend onto buying those items, onto those gems are wasted forever and you cannot get them back. With the NFTs, it would be different. So imagine if the Counter-Strike Go would be selling an NFTs, and then each item would be unique and have a unique holder as well associated with that. And then whenever you get tired of the particular skin, or maybe you want to get another one for yourself, on the Christmas, whatever the reason might be, you can go and sell it at the open market, get the real money for that, and go buy another one with that. So the moment you're done playing the game, you can actually get some money in return. And the time invested into getting these items and the money invested are not gone forever. They can be resold at a market value. So that's what the benefit NFT giving us into the gaming industry. And that's why is it important. So for the games like that already have those things integrated, like the premium features, right? It makes sense to slowly transition into the NFTs. But right now, the majority of the gamers doesn't trust NFT industry yet and doesn't understand the importance of the NFTs itself. So let's say Bored Ape, they creating the whole metaverse game that they are doing, which called the Other Side Meta, which is very exciting. But basically, having their NFT, you're going to be having access to the certain features, and you've been having beta access to their game when they've been doing that, and etc., which is not accessible to public. And that's the reason why is it important to have those NFTs. But the Bored Ape is expensive. I'm not saying that, go buy Bored Ape, that's gonna be the game that's gonna blow up. I don't know that. But there has been a quite amount of games that have been very accessible where you could actually play and earn. So the concept of play and earn comes from you being able to get those digital collectibles, those digital items, and resell them on the market value. So the first successful Web3 game was Axie Infinity. And Axie Infinity right now, if we go to the coin market cap, let me check the capitalization of this thing. Coin market cap. 1 second, I'm gonna tell you. So, all right, Metaverse. If you don't know where to look at the Metaverse and gaming projects, by the way, go to the coin market cap. Is free, is for everyone. So the Axie Infinity right now is at the 53rd place in the global ranking of the crypto, and the capitalization 968 millions, almost $1 billion. And this being the first successful blockchain native game with a play to earn mechanics. So basically, the people that are playing Axie Infinity, you need to have a monster, which is the NFT, like having a character. And then you can win the battle and win a little bit of Axie token, or you can win more rare Axies, etc. So for the people that have been coming from the poor regions, like India and many others, during the COVID times when the majority of the people have been losing their jobs, that's been literally a saving. Because they could earn like $100, maybe $200 a month just by playing the game. And that's been very cool. So eventually it blew up. Axie Infinity now is in the top 100 of the crypto coins in the global market, which is great. And it's still a fully functional game. However, Axie Infinity is based on you owning a monster. So if you don't own one, you will need to purchase one to play. And now it's quite expensive. And for the people that can't afford to buy one, they can rent one. And that gives the, once again, the passive income for the people that do hold them without the need to be selling them onto the market. As I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear this dog. I don't know. It's not my dog. But
no, my dogs can hear it though. My dog's talking back.
I didn't know about that, but yeah. So that's basically about the Axie Infinity. That's the first example and the first really successful Web3 game. So with the renting of them, you can rent and you can battle versus others, and you're going to be able to win some tokens as well as a passive reward. And as people are renting them out and the people renting them for themselves, it means that if you actually rent and play, you are making profits. Because who would play the game dedicated to making money by doing so without making money and just wasting them, right? So as they are able to, there is the profit in between of you renting the Axie and you playing the game and winning and getting some money with that. But Axie Infinity is not the only one in existence that's been created as a play to earn game. We have several more, and I've been in touch with some gaming studios. We actually partnered at the Stone Tigers with a Play Big Time. I don't know if you guys know about Play Big Time, but this is a massive Web3 gaming studio that has a little bit over 70 people working for them. And they created the game that is similar to Diablo and World of Warcraft, basically where you can play and you don't have to sign in with your wallet and stuff. That's no needed. But you can play even just with your email and etc. We've given away 200 early game access before to our community, so they could play, get a tease of the game, and win some cool NFTs. So while playing Play Big Time, you're kind of solving the quests and you're going versus the bosses. So whenever you kill the boss, there is a loot that you can claim after that. And you're claiming this loot, and sometimes you can get the rare NFT items out of that. As I got one actually while we played with our community. I also played a little bit, so I got one item. And then you can go to their market and resell it for money. which is cool, but they didn't want too far integrating that onto the global market. So their NFTs that you're getting out of playing game is not tradable on OpenSea. So that's been their mistake, I believe, and that's why they didn't get more exposure to the Web3 enthusiasts. But however, they are a great example of the studio that done it. It's a Web3 native game, and whenever you're playing, you can win some NFTs. So another one of the gaming studios would be 𝐒𝐿𝐬𝐬. Uh, I am not sure that many people are aware yet, but the 𝐒𝐿𝐬𝐬 is built onto the Solana blockchain. I believe they're expanding to different chains as well. But basically, within this gaming studio, they partner with several NFT communities like 𝐶𝐴𝐧'𝐿, Solana Monkey Business, and their NFTs integrated into the games. And there is several different games available. I believe at this point is 10. There is the shooting games, there's the football, like mini football game that you can play on the PlayStation, etc. And there are several more. And basically, if you connect with your wallet to the 𝐒𝐿𝐬𝐬, and you have a Solana Monkey Business or you have a 𝐶𝐴𝐧'𝐿 in there, it will read this data and it will give you the design of your character as a 𝐶𝐴𝐧'𝐿 or Solana Monkey Business, and etc. So whenever you just have a one single NFT, you play the game and you have dedicated skin inside of the game, this is so valuable. And as we go further, people will actually resonate with that more and more and more, because that comes to your Web3 digital identity, which if and some people may be not aware of, we actually been a long time into building our Web3 and digital identities. Even the Instagram page is the digital identity of ours, Twitter page is the digital identity, etc. So now we're transitioning that to the blockchain. And whenever you play the game, you would want to have a personalized things depending on the NFTs you own, NFTs you like, that's representing you as a person that you associate yourself with. So having a 𝐶𝐴𝐧'𝐿 in your wallet and being able to play the game and have dedicated skin of the 𝐶𝐴𝐧'𝐿 inside of the game is very exciting. And why is it important to have an NFTs as a gaming assets that you could utilize? Well, because we've been playing games for over 20 years at this point, all the different kinds of games, right? And whenever you own something, this ownership feeling, it's not the same as whenever you are just playing the game, you know, it is a little different. And then the personalization aspect is different as well. And then another thing is that going into the future, the majority of those games, you can resell those NFTs at a greater value or rent them out. But I see we have a hand up from Stella. So I wanted to get to Stella before I continue.
Yes, so I have a question regarding NFTs and gaming. You were talking earlier about the Axie Infinity. One of the main criticism that is made to this system is basically the game mechanic, the tokenomics and the economics of the game, because very often there's no value creation per se, and so basically the price at which you will end up selling the NFT, I mean, it's a little bit, for me, it's the value creation. I don't understand how the price goes up, and I find it very hard to make it a sustainable thing. I don't know if it makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. So the price of the NFT of Axie Infinity, and why is it going up? Well, there is a certain reasons, and the market is always fluctuating. So the first thing I would look at, it would be the rarity, because every NFT has attached rarity to it. So some are more rare, some are more common. And if people are looking for more rare items, since there is a finite amount, let's say it's 10,000 of them, I think it's more than 10,000, but let's say it's 10,000. And then if you have a rarity number 5,000, is better than the rarity number like 9,000, right? So that would suggest a higher pricing. But why those NFTs go up in value overall, like the whole collection? Well, it comes down to the people interest, the people using it, and how the market value that. So with the NFTs is different from, let's say, stock market, because in stock market, you have basically a market cap divided by the total amount of money invested, that there is a liquidity pools, etc. In NFTs is not the same. It's basically every single person deciding whatever value they wanted to value that at. So if we have 10 people and one person say, yo, I want to sell that for $1, all right, but another person say, I want to sell that for $1,000. So as long as there is people believing that it's more expensive than $1 and the value they're getting back in return is more than this dollar value, they will be buying it and listing it at the higher price. So it comes down to everyone's belief and the strength of the community. With the Axie Infinity, for example, there is a use case which a lot of NFT lack. So the use case for Axie Infinity is that you take this monster and you can play the game. So it comes down to, let's say monthly, you can earn, let's say, just imaginary scenario, $200. So if you can earn $200 a month, and many people playing and doing so, it makes sense for the NFT being listed, let's say, at $400 on secondary market, because now within 2 months you can basically get your investment back out of just simply playing the game. So that's how market is formulating itself. And basically, if tomorrow there's going to be someone that comes in and says, yo, I want to sell my NFT at $1, he will list it. There's probably going to be just someone coming and buying it at $1 and then listing it at another price. What I'm saying is that it comes down to the people's opinion and how they value it. So if someone wants to sell cheaper, they can go ahead and do that. But the thing is, the majority of the other people will not go after this person and list as well lower. They will actually look at that and consider buying it instead and raising up the floor value back to where it was, and reselling it at the profits for themselves. So that's a little bit of the breakdown. I hope it helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. And I'm happy to answer those questions. So another example of the game I wanted to provide, I actually wrote the thread recently about them on Twitter as well. Well, I wrote the thread about the NFTs and gaming, but I mentioned the BR1 a little bit further on. So I've met the BR1 at one of the Solana events, which was Solana Hacker House back in the previous year, I think. So I've met them, and they developed the game where it's a little different setup. So it's kill to earn. So instead of just play to earn, you have to kill others. Well, it's a shooter game to actually earn a little bit of the money back. So on the first kill, you're breaking even. Then on the second kill, you're just making money. And if you die before the first kill, then you're losing money. That's pretty much the way they did that. But to play their game, you have to have one of their apes or one of the droids. And in case you don't have the ape or you don't have a droid, you can actually go and rent it from other people. Or if you have yours and you don't necessarily want to sell, you can rent them out, getting a passive income. So as I explained before, the NFTs give you also an ability to just rent out them without selling them, because there's going to be people that will want to play, that will come in and they will say, yo, I'm okay paying like $2 for a day, but I'm not okay paying $500 for the NFT because I don't have $500, but I may have two, and just to try to play today. So that's what the BR1 did. And it's a blockchain native shooter game with the great graphics. You can go to their Twitter page and discover a little bit more about them. Right now, I believe they in the alpha testing mode. And if you go to their Discord, you can also participate in that. They are accepting people in, so far I know. And this is a great game and a great example of where, first of all, the ownership of the NFT itself, then the ability to rent it out, ability to sell it on the open market, and then playing the game, you're actually earning a little bit money anytime that you're going and killing other players, which is very exciting. And now imagine if CSGO did the same way, but rather than selling the characters themselves, they would be selling the weapons. So the weapons that are looking unique, imagine if they were NFTs and could be resold at a greater value. And let's say there is a famous streamer, right? And he's streaming how he's playing the games like all day long. And he got a particular skin. Just because the streamer got the skin and he enjoys it and he's been playing with that, he can resell it at a greater value because there is a fans that will want to be a part of that, to experience that as well, to have it in their hands. So that's how the blockchain and gaming working at the current stage. Into the future, I believe we will have a bigger open market for the gaming industry itself, where a lot of items, like even the farm games, you know, and like a simple stuff that majority of people play on the phones can be a blockchain native games, or even the things that you gotta be, let's say in the farm game, the ones that you gotta be farming can be resold as products still within the open market space. So let's say you're producing carrots, right? And you could resell those carrots as a version of the token that may be an additions, right, onto the open market, and other people will buy it because they need it for something else in their games, in their setup. And that excites me. And then we can create a truly huge ecosystem where lots of those NFTs could be collaborated, where we could create one global ecosystem. And so let's say today you play one game, but tomorrow you want to play another one, but you could still maybe utilize some of the items from another games. So eventually such an integrations will be happening. And believe one of those games is going to be Sandbox, because they have a lot of partnerships, they have a capital, they have an understanding, and they already integrated a lot. So as we go further, you will be able to display your NFTs, you will be utilize your NFTs into the sandbox, for example, like a 3D assets and etc. And then put, you know, maybe a JPEGs on the walls and stuff. But I think there's going to be more use cases as we go further on. We're going to have a pre-coded assets that can be logged onto the blockchain, etc. There's going to be many exciting things, but that's just a little brief breakdown onto the Web3 NFTs and gaming and why is it important. And probably all of you already know, you at least have some friends that been going, you know, like somewhere out and their kid just sitting in their phone and then received a huge bill of like a few $100 playing some game that, you know, doesn't make sense, but they've been spending those money on buying gems, etc. You probably heard of such stories. Like I know that a lot of people play Brawl Stars, and some of my friends already have a kids. They're like, yo, my kid again spent like, you know, a bunch of money onto these gems that doesn't give him anything. So the people already doing that, the young generation already growing up onto spending money in games. It's okay for them. It's for the older generation, we're like, why would we spend money on game? It doesn't make sense. For the younger generation who weren't already with a digital identity, with the phones in their hands since like an early age, for them it's natural. And they spending those money to get an extra benefits that they cannot get otherwise. So yeah, I believe that this industry gonna grow. And as we progress further, the new generation gonna be the one gonna be pushing it more and more. And I don't think so it will ever stop. I think eventually we'll see a huge games like Assassin's Creed and etc. Being completely blockchain native. I think that's coming and coming very soon. But yeah, I wanted to ask if anyone has any questions or any comments, feel free to contribute. And I would love to hear a little bit feedback from you guys.
Actually, I have another question. In order to kind of sum up and wrap up on everything you said, by the way, thank you so much for all the value that you brought. It was a very interesting session. If you had to give 3 pieces of advice to someone who's kind of launching a game and tries to integrate NFTs to this game, what would it be in order to make the use of NFT really valuable?
Okay, so that's a good question, and there is several aspects to it. So I believe the one thing that you have to realize when you're launching any game is that how do you attract the user base? And it's regardless if it's a blockchain native game or the regular game. And then another thing, I believe it would be helpful if you create non-custodial wallet within the game so that the gamers can play without necessarily even thinking of the Web3 wallets, being onboarded, about the crypto stuff. They can just join and play. Because in the end of the day, you still want the regular user base, you still want gamer to come in. You don't want only the blockchain hungry people to come in, because that's not going to get you anywhere. But speaking of the very small numbers, it's like less than 1 million people will join you. And for, you know, if we speak of the huge games, they have the user base way more than 1 million. I mean, 1 million is a lot, but getting 1 million of the people that playing only the blockchain games is really complicated. Getting a million people that just playing games is easier. So I would suggest to have a tactic where the people that are not blockchain native, that not Web3 enthusiasts, would still play the game, would still be your users, and could still earn those benefits and still sell it, maybe at integrated marketplace of yours, or maybe if they want, they can learn later on and then go to the open market as an OpenSea. But for them to have this option, to be onboarded to just as a regular game is important. And that's what I can say, because if they don't have this option, it's got to be really hard and really complicated to just get a bigger reach and bigger amount of people playing. So that would be the second that I will suggest. And the third one, I would say that it's important to, of course, raise up enough money for whatever you've been building, but make it accessible to people. So if your NFT for the NFT game is worth over $1,000, it's not accessible. I'm not gonna buy it. Many of people that I know not gonna buy it. But if it's gonna be $10, now you're getting the exposure of all those people. Now those people could get one. So don't make it out of reach for many, because if it requires a huge investment into that and it's a new game, a lot of people will just not do that because they don't know even if they will like it, if their market value, if they will find out the secondary value to that, if they will be able to resell it later on. So try to make it as accessible as possible to the regular people that not necessarily rich, that doesn't necessarily making, $100,000 a year in salary, just the regular ones that maybe, earning like $1,000 a month. There's a lot of those across the globe, many even earning less than that. So be wise with the targeting audience, because if you only target those that have money, if you only target those that are in the Web3, there's probably going to be like 100 people joining. So to avoid that, try to expand to the whole market and try to create a natural interest of the people, of the gamers. With Axie Infinity, it had an advantage. It was first one, so that's why it exploded this much. Sandbox have a huge partnerships. That's why it's exploding. It's not even live yet completely. But it wouldn't be the same if you create another blockchain game and trying to get like the first 100 users in there. It will be complicated. So that's something I will suggest. I hope that answers the question. And thank you for asking once again.
Anyone else has any other question?
Quickly, I will put my phone on the charger.
If not, I think Nikos wants to say something.
Yeah, Nico, go ahead.
I have one question about, let's say, NFTs that keep evolving. For example, within the game, if you need, let's say, some weapons, or if you need some superpowers that are given to NFT, if you have focused on this sector and if it's like a particular smart contract that you need to adopt, how exactly it works? This is something that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is several ways how to go about that. And it depends if the game does execute everything on chain or if the game kept off chain. So for that, like any action, let's say that happening within the game, is it required to sign as a transaction or not? Because it can be hosted as on Web2 services, it can be hosted decentralized manner as well. So if it's going to be a centralized manner where it going through the regular like Web2 games, then it basically like a login system where you log in with your NFT, but within the game itself, within their platform, your NFT has more things associated with it. It's evolving. So it's like, think of it like a separate thing. So NFT, you can resell, it's still like your NFT same way, but then in the game, you can basically up level your NFT. Now, let's say from level 1, you grow it to level 30, but that's going to be reflecting only. So that's one option. That's going to be the off chain. And then it's tied only to the particular game where, let's say if it's done on chain, then you do have to create an interactive smart contract that, can be evolving and adding the things. It's not that hard. It's basically like the reveal function, but several more times, and it's evolving metadata. We've seen that with several collections. Some of them was the potatoes, MUFs. There are several more that done the kind of updating metadata. So the potatoes started with the little, I don't know, pool, and then grow eventually in like a little thing popping out of it, then eventually into the big strong potato. So that was the interactive metadata. So if you're doing game completely with every transaction executed on chain, then it would require you to create such a smart contract. Yeah. And the easiest way to figure out what exactly smart contract I'm talking about is to go to the OpenSea and search the potatoes. It's with Z in the end, potatoes. So that's gonna help you to understand where is it coming from. And yeah, it's possible to do. But then every single time your NFT is evolving into something else, it will have to be refreshed onto the decentralized storage. Let's say you're using KPFS, then it will have to reflect in the game. So there is a question of development-wise how you would do that. It has its own complications, but it's not impossible to do. So it would work this way. Let's say you have an NFT, you're logging into the game, you're playing, your NFT went from level 1 to level 10, let's say. So now the metadata of your NFT has to change, so your NFT can evolve, and that it has associated already everything with it, so it can properly evolve, maybe change the image, maybe change the settings, maybe change the powers, etc. But it has to be pre-coded, that has to be pre-selected, or it has to be randomized of what you could get, but at X+1 value. Then it could work. So that's two options how it could work, either off-chain or on-chain. I hope it answers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Viktor. It has been enlightening.
I appreciate you for asking.
Yeah.
I believe Tatiana and Maria are also here. Tatiana has just joined. Maybe she has also some questions.
Yeah, of course.
If not,
If not, I think we can wrap it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Viktor can share 1 minute conclusion. I know.
Yeah, of course. So once again, thank you everybody for joining and listening. I hope you understood a little bit more about the blockchain, Web3, and gaming, and where the industry going. The little conclusion that I can say that the NFTs will change and revolutionize the gaming space, gaming industry, just because the people seeking a little bit more control, because people are seeking getting their money back. Eventually, that will become natural for the games transitioning to it. And I believe in 2023, we will see a lot of games start going this direction. In 2024, we will start seeing some being released. In 2025, we probably will see a huge blockchain native games that will just overtake the market. And from there, once we get to the mass adoption, it's going to go to a several $1 trillion market itself. So right now, if you look at the metaverse and gaming, I believe it's less than 10 billion. I think, yeah, it's definitely less than $10 billion right now. It's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry where a lot of things haven't yet been created. And my advice would be to anyone looking at it as an investment or anything. I'm not a financial advisor, but what I would suggest is look at the gaming studios, because they're creating several products of their ecosystem that can be powerful, because if you play one game, you can play another game. As one game get old, they can release another one, and they can still power it with the same token, with the same utility, have still the same open market of their own development stuff. So that would be very helpful if you look at the gaming studios. And yeah, just keep an eye on to the adoption into it. Try to see some games that already been created. Maybe go and look for the Axie Infinity on the YouTube, see how the people playing, what they're doing. Maybe go look at the Gala games, or maybe go and try to play like a BR1. Let's try to sign up right now, or go try to play big time. So that you could get a tease and understanding of that this is still a game. This is still a gaming industry. Nothing has changed. but now people could have an ownership of their digital assets, which is going to be huge. And it is going to be important as we go into the future. So that's my little conclusion. I hope you all enjoy and take the best out of this industry. We're on the path of the innovation, and that's going to be freaking huge. So I appreciate you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me once again. And I'm looking forward to be speaking at several more if there's going to be a chance. I appreciate you all.